Hello, I'm Claire. Welcome to my channel, Claire Bobbins. Today I'm bringing you a collaboration between Pam of Sweet Pea Green and myself. So pop back in just a moment to see what I have to say about what we've been making. It's one fabric, two caftans. I'll see you shortly. Welcome back. Before I go on, I'm wearing the Tidal dress by Love Notions in a Minerva French terry in their Boudoir Bouquet exclusive print. Very comfortable, perfect with this weather. Okay, our collaboration. Pam and I. Pam found me. We're both new vloggers. I started in January, Pam a little bit later. And she happened to find me on YouTube and put a post up on Instagram when she mentioned me. And we got chatting via messaging. She mentioned me to Judy, running So-and-So, and Judy very kindly gave us both a shout out for our vlogs. Since then, Pam and I obviously have fairly similar tastes, and we've been enjoying each other's videos and commenting and just developing a rapport online. And we decided, I can't remember who suggested it now, but we decided it would be really nice to do a collaboration. So we had to think about what we might like to do, and we set upon a one fabric, two dresses, where we have different body styles, so doing two different patterns to give us a similar outcome was the way to go. It was about that time that Beyond the Pink Door Fabrics, Andrea launched her pre-orders for her lovely exclusive print fabrics, and there were a couple that we really liked. Well, there were more than a couple that we really liked, but we managed to narrow it down to two and then to one, and we bought this beautiful green viscose challis fabric, ordered it, and then we had time to plan while we waited for the fabric to be delivered. So we, Pam had, and I'm sure you'll go along to her channel, have a look at her video. Pam was keen to do a caftan, and she wanted to do the Lynn caftan. Now, if you followed me for any time at all, you'll know that my upper body is my tricky fitting point, and I need to almost always do a full bust adjustment. So I needed a darted bodice in whichever dress or caftan I went for. So Pam knew what she wanted to do. I was going to try and get something as similar as possible, but the Lynn caftan isn't a darted bodice, and although it would be wholly possible to put darts in and redraft the top, I would prefer to start with something that at least had darts in before I then set about fitting it. So that being said, I already had the Charlie caftan pattern, and that has a kind of letterbox arrangement on the waistband with lots of gathers, and I decided that it was very different to the Lynn caftan, which is much more of a dress in caftan style, and I use my Charlie caftan as a beach cover-up. It has big sleeves, it's kind of a bit more like a traditional caftan with the gathers at the front. Also, a lot of gathering here would have really lost all this beautiful detail on the fabric, which we were both keen to really allow to shine, hence a relatively simple dress. Just around that time, Sinclair Patterns launched the Jenna Kaftan with a darted bodice. It has underbust darts that go down to the waistband, so not quite the darted bodice, the bust dart I'm familiar with, but a darted bodice to give me shape and something nice to work from. So I decided to toile that, and I toiled it in an old fabric. I did do a video about that toile, if you want to go back and look at that. It was a fairly recent video. I will put a link to it in the information box below. So yes, I had a go. I toiled it. I did have to size up. I was really impressed with the Sinclair pattern details. I normally have to move side bust darts down. All I had to do was to back off the under bust darts. The darts go down the front of the, down here and down here. All I had to do was just back those off a little bit so they didn't hit me in an awkward position. And I sized up to give me exactly the room I needed across the bust. And then I did a narrow shoulder adjustment so that on the toile, this was just hanging off my shoulders a little bit, only about ½ inch. So I did a narrow shoulder adjustment, which does the, again, I put details of that in the video. And that brings in the shoulder seam without affecting the arm side and the fitting of the sleeve, the insertion of the sleeve later. So it's a really lovely pattern. It has a waistband casing. It has pockets. I changed the pockets slightly and I anchored them in the waistband. So I extend the pocket bag so that instead of it coming out from the side seam and being a droopy pocket, I just take it up to the level with the top of the skirt and then baste that in before I sew the skirt in it. And with a light fabric, such as a challis, it works really well. You don't notice the pockets, but the pockets hang really nicely and don't drag the sides of the dress down. And it's a very easy change, very easy hack to do. You just get the pocket bag pattern and just extend it up, place it where it should be on the pattern piece for the front of the skirt, and then just extend it to the top level of that pattern piece. It's really easy to do. And then when you cut out your pockets, you make them in exactly the same way, but you just pin and then baste at the level with the top of the skirt as well as everywhere else it tells you to, and it just gets included in with the rest of the sewing. So yeah, so it has pockets. It has, if I just turn this around so you can see it a little bit better, you see the silhouette. There is an option to put a flounce on the sleeve. I thought, didn't really want to do that. I wanted to keep it quite a simple silhouette, but that's an option. I did a little banroll baby hem on the sleeve, and then on the back, it's gathered in. Now, Karina has made this pattern. She did a part sew along for it, and she inserts elastic into the back of the casing. So from the tie, from the side seams, the tie the side, you put a piece of elastic in instead of that section of the waist tie, and it gives you really lovely even gathers, and it means that you're not forever having to tie and untie. It makes it very, very comfortable to wear as well. So that's lovely. You can see the facing at the back here. I top stitched, I used my creative cover stitch for the top stitching on the facing, and I will I'll put some close-ups in of the creative cover stitch that I did. So I liked the pattern, I liked the fit, the hem. This was the standard length. I didn't have to alter the length at all. I chose the regular, the mid. There are three file sections for tall, for medium height, and for petite. And I fell nicely into the medium height, which I think was from 5'3" to 5'5", and I'm about 5'4", so I sat in the middle of that height, and I like the length. It's lovely. I did a blind hem on my sewing machine with just a single turn up, overlocked the edge, and then I used my blind hem just on my sewing machine, so you just get a very, very tiny little mark where that's sewn in, not really noticeable against this lovely bold print. What didn't I like about it? There are a couple of things I didn't like about it. Had I not been following Karina's part sew along for the facing when I made the toile, I think I would have found that very tricky, because it's not quite so intuitive, because the facing is on the front of the design, not inside. And there are two reasons why I didn't particularly like it. I quite like the way it looks when it's finished. I think it looks even more dramatic on the toile I made, which is a less busy fabric. You lose the detail a little bit on the busier fabric. Um, I like having this shape, but as I say, it is a bit lost. I had to make the facing twice. Good job I had plenty of fabric. And the reason for that was I like the front of my bodice to be pattern matched. Call me fussy. Even on a busy fabric, I still like to try and get it as close as I can. And that's relatively easy when you've just got a bodice to do. But with the facing, I had to try and pattern match the centre, and I had to try and match the edge. And initially I thought, I don't mind if the facing isn't pattern matched because it'll make the facing stand out more. So I went along with that. But when I actually offered it up, because the pattern repeat is quite close together on this particular design, it just looked like I tried to pattern match it and failed miserably, because it was almost like a shadow. It was just neither one thing nor the other. So then I set about trying to do it halfway between the pattern blocks, so it was definitely different. And again, because I was doing both sides and there was quite a lot of it, I just couldn't get that to look right. It just looked all wrong. So I settled for trying to pattern match both the inside and the outside, and I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it, because you lose. I mean, maybe I don't even think I could have done it with, if I had more fabric to play with, because of course you have the seam down the centre, and then you have the seam under the edge here. So it's a very close pattern match, but it's not quite there. There's one or two places where you've got these bold lines across where it's not quite right, but it's very close. So I did a slightly more bold top stitching just to take your eye away a little bit from the pattern, and that works for me most of the time. And I don't think anybody, if I hadn't pointed it out, I don't think anybody else would actually notice. I will again put close-ups in. I really liked the way the creative cover stitches worked on the facing, and it was nice to have that to play about with. The fabric is beautiful, and you would expect high quality from Andrea at Beyond the Pink Door, but it is lovely, and I think the design is absolutely stunning. You will see that I'm inserting, I have inserted some photographs and a little bit of video of both myself and Pam's dresses, and they both look fabulous. And I think the colours are really flattering. You've got such bold, so many greens. Do you remember me saying when I was looking at curating my Me Made closet? I can't remember, and I wanted to introduce more green into my wardrobe. Well, here you go. How many greens are there in this dress? I think it's absolutely beautiful. I really like the pale duck egg blue, which is strong enough to really balance nicely with the deep greens. We've got these fabulous limey greens. We've got cool greens, we've got forest greens, we've got the turquoise in there, and then we get those pops of pink, pops of yellow, and then the black and white kind of just balance it all out. Yeah, mad print. I love it, absolutely love it. Yeah. So here it is, my my Jenna Kaftan, and I think they both look fabulous. I love the Jenna Kaftan, and I love the Lynn Kaftan. It's a shame it probably wouldn't fit me. I liked the silhouette. They both have a very similar silhouette. That was a deliberate choice to have a similar silhouette. And I think overall we've done a pretty good job. So do go and have a look at the lovely Pam's blog. Go and have a look at her channel. She saves some lovely stuff. Yeah, I very much like watching her. She's a lovely calm vlogger, and her work is a real breath of fresh air. Yeah, she does just some very, very nice garments and some lovely sewing. And she's a gardener, so yeah, what more could you want? So do go and have a look at her and give her some sewing community love. And thank you so much for watching. Um, if you have any comments about our makes, I would love you to pop them below. It'd be really lovely to see what you think of the fabric, and what you think of our two different takes on it for our two different body styles. You know, how I went on the fitting with as a busty sewist. Yeah. Any your comments? Do you like an outside facing? I haven't said why. The other reason why I was less keen on the facing, and it's simply that, of course, with the facing on the inside, you then get the same colour on the inside, unless you happen to want to do a contrast facing. And now, of course, the inside is white because it's not yarn dyed; it's printed fabric. So I was very careful, and I top stitched around the edge here to hold that in place. I understitched it first. The understitching is kind of the wrong way around as well, but I understitched it first, and I pressed it really carefully so that there was absolutely no way that white could peek through. But that's another reason why I think I prefer my facings on the inside. And I have thought about making this dress again, but taking the facing in, and I might try that. I like the pattern, I like the fit, it's very comfortable on. I think it looks quite stylish, and yeah, it's a joy to wear really. But this fabric really makes it, doesn't it? I mean, it's just stunning. So thank you, Andrea. Thank you, Pam, for collaborating with me. It's been a real pleasure. And yeah, thank you for watching, viewers. And if you liked it, please give us a like. If you're new to the channel and you think you might like to see more of what I do and what Pam does, do consider subscribing. It really helps us. And happy sewing. Bye bye.